Welcome back, PC World fans, for our usual gathering of PC news of the week. And this time, it was a bit of a challenge, mostly because it seems that we're in the quiet before the storm period before the launch of Windows 11. What? You thought we were going to make it a week without bringing up the next iteration of Microsoft's operating system, didn't you? There were some really interesting things to come to light this week with the new Microsoft Surface Laptop Studio. Valve gave us even more insight into the soon-to-be-released Steam Deck, and a couple of leaks from the rumor mill surrounding the GeForce RTX 30 series Super Refresh, as well as Intel and their 12th gen Alder Lake CPUs. More to cover than you thought, right? Well, let's jump right in. Microsoft kicked things off for us this week with the Surface event and had quite a few announcements ranging from the new Surface Pro 8 all the way up to the Surface Laptop Studio. That's the focus of this segment, and if you want to hear more, Mark Hawkman has covered that on PCWorld.com with a full coverage of the entire range. Now, specs for the Surface Laptop Studio have been beefed up, as well as a really neat new hinge design that allows for a laptop to be a hybrid of sorts. But it's what's under the hood that got my attention. Sure, it's got the latest offering from Intel with the Core i5 11300H and the Core i7 11370H, both featuring Intel's latest Xe graphics built in to power the display. Now, if you need more power, however, Microsoft has upped the ante with the ability to include a dedicated graphics card this time around. The option now exists to add the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3050 Ti to the mix, and this really turns it into a multi-purpose powerhouse. The inclusion of the dedicated graphics card really does make the Surface Laptop Studio a truly capable but expensive option for the unique user who might be on the lookout for one. Now, there is something interesting with this whole announcement, and that's no AMD options. But on to a different kind of gaming experience with the Valve Steam Deck. Yes, this little portable gaming PC has made its way back into the news cycle thanks to the team at Valve updating its website with the inclusion of a frequently asked questions section. It happens to shed some light on the capabilities of the system and provide some expectations. Now, the biggest thing that stick out for me is the question surrounding the micro SD card support as well as VR support, because remember, VR is alive and well. So the micro SD card situation first. File system format? Well, that's always an interesting one because I'm sure folks were wondering if they'd be able to pull it out and simply copy gaming files from their PC and avoid downloading the process. Well, it looks like the Steam Deck micro SD cards will be using the ext4 with case folding. But don't worry, you as the user will not have to figure out how to do all of that because the Steam Deck will format the SD cards for you to that proper format. But what about being able to boot from the SD card? Say you bought the 64GB model and you just want to run everything from an SD card for simplification purposes. Well, you can do just that. No need to be forced into the built-in storage, which could prove very useful down the road if the internal storage was to fail. But I've seen them, you've likely seen them, and I've seen the question, can the Steam Deck do VR? While I'm sure there are some games and the home screen that the Steam Deck could run perfectly fine in VR, Valve admits that the VR headset can in fact be connected, but the Steam Deck is not officially optimized for PC VR experiences. Still, you can bet your bottom dollar that folks like me will at least be trying. Now, that's a wrap on the official outing, so let's just wade through the latest leaks, starting with NVIDIA. The company has a long history now of mid-cycle refreshes, so it's no surprise that the rumor mill has begun rolling out like a faucet on full open at this point. Now, Tom's Hardware brings us the latest with the RTX 3000 Super Series potential specifications, and just like the last round of Super cards, this seems to be a slight bump in the rated specifications. The biggest update will likely be the RTX 3060 Super, and if these rumors hold true, it will see the biggest jump in specifications with the streaming multiprocessor count going from 28 all the way up to 44, which should result in a massive performance boost. There will still be 12 gigabytes of VRAM on a 192-bit bus, but that really shouldn't be an issue. and the card itself would have the potential to be the new IT card to go to for 1080p and 1440, and it should take the limelight away from the RX 6600 XT. Now, according to the leak, the RTX 3070 Super will retain the same core specifications, but will be switching from GDDR6 to GDDR6X, and there are a couple of takeaways here on what to expect. One is that unless they've made it more efficient, we'll see more power draw increase from the memory swap alone, and two, this should put the RTX 3070 Super within spitting distance of the RTX 3070 Ti that's currently on the market. The next card is, of course, the RTX 3080 Super, with a couple of extra streaming multiprocessors being added to the mix, taking it to 70 rather than 68, resulting in a CUDA core count of 8,960. The more interesting aspect is the move to 12 gigabytes of VRAM, meaning they'll put it in the same memory bus as the RTX 3080 Ti, and that said, I wouldn't expect it to be faster than that card. Last and certainly not least, the RTX 3090 Super, with a fully enabled GA102 with 84 SMs, which would ultimately follow the RTX 3080 Super model with only 2 extra SMs enabled. Still going to be supporting 24 gigabytes of VRAM, so nothing big there except the capacity, and we'll have to wait to see how this all pans out. Now, on the way out, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the latest 12th Gen Alder Lake leak featuring the upcoming Intel Core i9 12900K that was reported by Tech Power Up. In this particular leak, it shows what appears to be the Core i9 12900K featuring in its new performance core and efficiency cores, meaning 8 cores, 16 threads, plus an 8-core design, scoring a whopping 30,549 points in Cinebench R23. This manages to put it ahead of the AMD Ryzen Threadripper 2990W, which is a 32-core and 64-thread chip, which sounds bonkers. Now, the chip is reportedly running at 5.3 GHz with DDR5 5200, and those numbers are nothing to sneeze at. But my guess is that the reported 30 megabytes of L3 cache is going a long way in providing a lot of the performance in this Cinebench test. Well, fellas, that's about it for this week. We've seen Microsoft roll out a very interesting update to their Surface portfolio with the dedicated graphics card packing Surface Laptop Studio. Valve gives us even more information with regards to the upcoming Steam Deck, and leaks are showing promising super refresh for NVIDIA, especially for the RTX 3060 Super, and the latest leak for the upcoming 12th Gen Alder Lake Core i9 12900K is showing it could be a force to be reckoned with. Now, I want to thank all of you for joining me in this week's roundup, and let me know if you enjoyed it by hitting that thumbs up and subscribing for even more PC hardware goodness.